Hi, I'm Core,
And I'm Shabu.
and today we're going to be taking a look at some scenes from Eurocamp and talking about the music and sound design.
待てよ。もしお手頃価格だったりするのか。
Dude, I love the melodica. I think
Yeah.
it's melodica, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is a melodica.
It's just so funny because they've got this kind of like, very scory jazz sound.
ですでにうまい。特上2つお願いします。
Honestly, it's surprising how busy the music is, and it doesn't really feel like it's getting in the way of the scene.
It's a good cut. I like the sound effects for that too.
ということだから心配せず味わってくれたまえ。
Oh,
ごちそうさまです。
there it is.
They put some stank on that one. What
It
the
just comes out of nowhere. It's just insane. This is the chillest scene
心
ever.
配せず味わってしま
It's a lick like that.
Oh, new cue.
ダメだ
It's a fun chord progression.
こんな味を
Oh,
覚
yeah, and
えたら
How it slows a bit and then gets faster. Gives that nice ebb and flow to the tension of the scene.
Oh, that's so much fun. I love this OST.
心配せず味わってくれたまえ。
Yeah, that was a super fun moment. I mean, obviously a big reason we wanted to watch that clip in particular was because of that little melodic riff right there.
Yeah.
That delicious lick,
心配せず味わってくれたまえ。
which is kind of similar to this one kind of iconic moment, the Mario Kart soundtrack. But that's like the first thing I thought of when I saw that, where it's like moments in a soundtrack where it just like pops off like crazy. And
Yeah,
we're
no.
not expecting that.
Persona 5 has one of those. I think it's an alleyway where they just have this piano solo that goes off. I absolutely love that. It's so weird in this scene. I don't think it doesn't fit, to be clear. I don't know if it's like, if I'm like, wow, this is really put to good use in terms of like music direction or whatever, but they don't really have to. That's not a positive or negative. It's just kind of like, it's there. It was obviously like in the piece and they kept it in and they
Yeah.
decided to use like that whole piece. I think the piece works really well, and I think the sound effects, the sound design, and the music direction is pretty solid throughout.
It's not necessarily a moment that's like, oh, the usage here is elevating the scene specifically. Like, it's not like tying into a direct
Yeah.
moment or anything. I feel like it's one of those moments where you can see the composer a little bit through the veneer of the show, and it's really satisfying to see. It's like, yeah, go off, King.
Dude, they put some stank on it. I'm about that, dude.
Something I really like about that scene is it gives the kind of energy of having like just a little band in the background. Like even
Yeah.
the way they kind of cut off for the comedic moment, and then they come back in with like the intro of the kick drum, giving like a little bit of an upbeat into it.
I'm very much about that with Eurocamp. They tend to have pretty good music placement and stuff. Do you mind if we watch it one more time?
価格だったりするのか。そうか。産地
Yeah, I really like the music placement. It like instantly sets a mood for this specific restaurant.
そうに違いない。うなぎが食える。
Sound effects there are pretty good. Very bright, shimmery high end lying on top of the music.
匂いだけですでにうまい。
It's a lot of non-diegetic sound, actually. I didn't notice that the first time.
This entire sequence is very cartoony.
It's super cartoony. The sound design team is working overtime on this one. Because not only do they have Foley, they have so much non-diegetic sound. And none of it's like stepping on the toes of any other frequencies. It's really interesting. But yeah, because they've got Foley going on and they've got these non-diegetic sounds going on. It's actually a very dense scene when it comes to the like sound and music design. It's really fascinating. And the background track actually works really well. They've got this part with the violin, which has a lot, like a bit more high end that might play worse compared to the earlier part against a lot of the cartoony sounds, which have a lot of high end in them too. Using that a bit later lines up everything to not only have more energy as the scene goes out, but get out of the way for other sound effects and stuff. That makes me hungry.
I want to eat some eel right now, to be honest. The backing track develops in a kind of interesting way where it goes from this initial structure that's like a bit of a band, it has the melodica, and then there's like a B section that has more focus on the violin and then like the whistling. And that is mainly over top of the scene where it's like the very detailed and like realistic depiction of him like cutting up the eel and preparing the food, versus like the earlier scene, which is much more sort of goofy and cartoony and like hyper real.
Yeah.
It's like there's a bit of musical separation between the like level of realism, which is pretty interesting.
No, I like that a lot. Yeah, I think that the music placement is deceptively deep.
There's our title. Eurocamp is deceptively deep.
People click on it, they're like, what the fuck? This is just about music.
That's good. We can get into the next clip.
Dude, I love this one. I picked this one. I remember watching this scene specifically, and they get out there and like, I just like rewatched it 4 times on the spot.
待ったいや今来たとこ
The mixing of this is like really good. They're really using the whole stereo space. That's such a very beautiful moment, the way the music is
so
swelling.
冬になるとたくさん集まって
Loot lines are crazy.
I didn't actually notice that when I watched. Dude, this flautist goes insane.
Oh, there it goes again.
Eurocamp music has so much good like groove to it, and just random slide guitar at the end too.
残金1290
I think that's it.
Again.
But
Okay. Oh wait,
it's the scene before the eel scene.
it's right before the eel scene. That was we did not plan that. That's not scripted. Neither of us realized that these two scenes are right next to each other. I guess they were just really going off for episode 3 of season 2. That's so fun because the like reverse sound effect leading to a climax is such a unique sound. So much of Eurocamp's OST is very like sounds like real instruments being played. If that
Very
makes sense, like, it doesn't
natural,
sound programmed,
acoustic,
or very digital.
natural.
It's very acoustic.
Yeah.
So like a sound like that, it really makes the moment even more striking.
It stands out a lot, right? It's got this kind of like build up break, and then they have this nice break, and I don't know if that's in the music or if they have edited that in. Either way, either it's literally perfect music placement or it's incredible music editing, and either way it's just great. Music placement is awesome. The flautist is going off, and the actual composition is just gorgeous, right?
りんちゃんこっちこっち面白いのが見られるよ面白いの
One thing I do actually really like, which is it's not new or anything, it's something that's used a lot, is this kind of doubling in the piano and the higher violin that I think adds a little bit of layer. So there's this kind of punchy percussive aspect, which this really hard piano. Like I think it's a pretty hard piano.
Could you describe what you mean by the word hard for anyone listening?
Oh, right. So, this is hard to explain actually. A hard piano has a much like more, it has a lot more like attack, so it's a lot quicker action. It sounds less round and soft. Like if I were to put a quilt over a piano, that would make it sound softer, right? It would be more muted, so it's very clear, it's very sharp, and it has a pretty active attack. A hard piano is very active, I would say. It's less muted and laid back and more active and present.
Cuts through everything more clearly.
Yes. Actually, everything cuts out. So I really like, I think there's this cymbal kind of swell, this shh, and then it goes into the reverse, which almost sounds like it's kind of taking it back or building up. Pausing, which is that break. I think that a lot of people have different names for it. I generally will call it a break. And it's when you like build something up. It's used in EDM a lot for people who aren't as familiar with like music and stuff like that. The thing where the beat speeds up, boom, and drop happens. That's basically what's happening here. I'm gonna say something, and this is gonna sound bad. It's very manipulative in a good way. This is one of many, many tools we have in our arsenal as, music directors or editors or whatever, whoever's kind of in control of the music placement, stuff like that. One of many tools that we have to kind of manipulate a moment to be more impactful outside of just having the music proper, right? And this is really
Right.
nice because the break isn't just silence, which can be very, very good, but it's actually filled up by natural diegetic sound, which is the flapping of the birds. And so that kind of has a natural break so that we give it room for there to be this nice, natural moment of them walking up on the birds, having that natural beauty, and then coming in with the beautiful, really amazing kind of bigger section that plays out when you see the full beauty of the scene for the viewer. So we both get a revelation of the characters having this natural moment of the diegetic sound and the moment just purely for our own benefit, which is the music coming in.
Incredible little moment.
Really jam-packed. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love
It's
Eurocamp.
such a short section that I think that's a big thing that I'm realizing watching this, and I guess it's like must be a similar trait across a lot of very good slice of life writing in particular. Listening to this, I'm realizing this is a lot more similar compositionally to Kobayashi than I remember.
Yeah, it is.
Where it has all these different groupings of instruments that they will use, and then they mix them around so they can use the same like melodic material or keep the generally consistent like harmonic progression, and then constantly be rotating around all these different like textures and combos. You can have like the violin and the melodica together, or the violin and the piano, or you can drop that out and have just like the whistling and the percussion and the flute, and there's so many different arrangements that you can put it into.
I love it because then they can get really interesting because in a lot of cases it's still kind of chamber ensemble or orchestral, but instead of having like a traditional chamber ensemble or a traditional orchestra or something in the Eurocamp OST, instead of having the lead line go to the strings or the violins or whatever, they'll give it to the melodica. And so they kind of substitute it in. And then, the piano plays a more leading role in this than it would in an orchestra. Chamber ensemble, it's more in line with like what a chamber ensemble would do, but this kind of upbeat music is very, very much score oriented and made for an audience watching something. And I think it's really special and captures a really fantastic feeling.
Now I'm hearing this, I'm imagining, it's like a small chamber. I'm there playing string quartet, playing Beethoven's
Along with the
quartets,
melodic
and I
player.
lead over to the lead line goes the melodica player.
Just pass it on over, dude.
A string quartet plus melodica. I think that's the new combo. They should
It's
start
happy
writing
music.
for. Yeah,
And it sounds happy to play,
it sounds like the musicians are having a good time.
Yeah, and I mean, if you tell me that the flute player is not having a good time, I would like to disagree with you because they are definitely having a good time. I can really tell like the flute player is so good with these melodic lines and making the phrasing, that's the word I'm looking for. The phrasing is really solid. The notes that they emphasize and how they kind of flow through the line, it's freaking perfect, man.
So that concludes our discussion for today. It's a bit shorter of a video, just experimenting with the format. Let us know what you thought of this video if you enjoyed it, and also let us know shows you'd like to see, and especially clips or moments that you'd like to see us talk about. We'd love to do videos centered around viewer submissions in the future if we get enough, and if they're interesting. As always, thank you for watching. If you watched the whole video and you enjoyed it, consider hitting the like button and check out some of our other content. It'll be linked in the end card.
Thank you.
See you in the next one.